would have thought that one of the most anticipated cars at the Goodwood Festival of Speed 2022 would be an estate car. This, the brand new BMW M3 Touring. Now, we'll talk about some of the specs and facts and figures in a minute, but I thought we might as well start at the front, not with the grills. We'll kind of leave them aside. You can all discuss those in the comments afterwards. But badge, because it's got a new badge on the bonnet for 50 years of M. Anyway, let's take a walk down the side to the back of the car, where obviously most of the changes have taken place. Now, obviously down the back here, one of the nice things, still got the split rear tailgate, so you can open this up, which is just, I don't know, it's just a nice feature, isn't it? I'm glad they haven't got rid of it for the M3. 500 litres of boot space, 1,510 litres with all the seats flat, and they fold in sort of, you know, every configuration you could want, so 60, 40, etc, etc, etc. Overall 76 millimetres wide, and you really do get some really good rear arches on this, sort of more so I think than the M4, which I always felt it was a bit of a shame. You saw it in the M3, that definitely got sort of bigger arches, but they're somehow I think almost even more pronounced in this Touring version. It's just over 80 millimetres longer overall, so not a great deal. In terms of weight, obviously this is going to be the heaviest M3 that you can get. Roughly speaking, I've seen figures saying that it's about sort of 70 kilos more for a Touring over a normal saloon, so that should sort of apply to this, which should put it sort of somewhere around 1,800 kilos, which is obviously a lot of weight. But also, as we know from the M3 and M4, they don't drive like their weight figures would suggest. So I think we should go and have a look inside and chuck back all the other facts and figures about it. Ooh. So this car is going up the Festival of Speed hill climb this week, hence the sort of cameras in here and stuff like that. This has got the optional sports seats in it with these cutouts at the back here. I really like these seats. They look as though they shouldn't be very comfortable, but particularly this sort of the odd bit in the middle there, but I think they're fantastic over a long journey. So yeah, if you're speccing one of these, you've been lucky enough to get an allocation, I would definitely not shy away from these sports seats, despite the fact they seem perhaps at odds with the Touring. Elsewhere in here, well, it's worth saying that this is the updated one, so obviously we've got this new sort of bigger continuous screen going all the way across here, which is, well, it's quite impressive. I'm not sure how much I kind of like it, but it's quite sort of square at the edges. It looks a bit widescreen, but there we go. I'm sure it'll be very good. And this hasn't got it, but I'm sure you will be able to get a head-up display as well, which is something I really like that BMW does. Underneath this, you will only be able to get it in competition specs, so that's 503 brake horsepower and 479 pounds-foot of torque, so that's the most you can get any M3 or M4 with, and it's only going to be an X-Drive, which might seem a shame, but having driven the X-Drive version of an M4, you really don't notice the difference that much. And obviously you can, at the press of, you can set these buttons up here, the M1 and M2, so that you can instantly turn everything off, use the sort of adjustable traction control on it, which is fantastic, and have it in rear wheel drive only. So I think it just fits. It seems to make sense with the Touring that it is X-Drive, because the sort of applications that people are going to use this in, it's just, yeah, it makes sense. And by all accounts as well, the X-Drive is outselling the rear wheel drive version of the M3 and M4 anyway, so there we go. In terms of performance, it'll be sub 4 seconds to 62 miles an hour. If you get the driver's pack, then it's up to 174 miles an hour as a limited top speed. It's also done a 7:35 around the Nürburgring, which is obviously wildly impressive. It's taken some sort of lap record for an estate as well. Price in the UK, just a sniff under £84,000 before you start adding options like this. You can get, I think, an ultimate pack, which is about £10,000, I think, which adds pretty much everything. And then obviously you can add things like carbon ceramic brakes on top as well. I need to check that. I'm pretty sure you can have carbon ceramics on this. I don't see why you wouldn't. Various styles of wheel as well. You've got the staggered wheel sizes on this, so 19s at the front, 20s at the rear, and they seem like, they haven't gone too large somehow, they just sort of fit. They seem like a really nice size. I should mention that the springs and dampers have been changed, so they're obviously stiffer at the rear to take account of the extra weight back there, but they're saying that there should be a Touring that drives like an M3, not a M3 that drives like a Touring, if that makes sense. So yeah, they want it to feel as though when you're sitting here, you could be in just the M3 saloon and unaware of what's going on back there. Although I always think if you put the seats flat, and then sometimes it actually sounds better because you get more of a sort of, there's more space back there to make more of the exhaust sound. But there we go. Oh, and check out this. We took some photos earlier, or some images of the purple one that's up on the stand just up there, which I think looks really cool. I quite like this sort of almost crayon grey sort of colour, but yeah, in dark purple. Very cool. Or green. What would you have? Let us know in the comments below, which colour would you have? Because that's pretty much the biggest decision, isn't it, to make about this car. So yes, this does seem like the sort of one car garage, potentially. It's I know I said that recently about the Everything M3s. They did that manual conversion on an E60 M5. We'll leave a link in the description down below, and that was fabulous as well. There's something just really cool about a fast estate, and Audi's kind of had its own way for far too long with the RS4. So yeah, it's no wonder really that this is one of the most important cars of the Goodwood Festival of Speed 2022. Thank you very much indeed for watching, and we'll see you next time.